status. He'd leave passive-aggressive notes on their door, a gentle reminder that rent is due on the first of the month. Prompt payment is appreciated. Even though they had just moved in, he'd complain about noise, even when they were simply watching television at a reasonable volume. He once even accused Jack of burning toast too loudly during breakfast. The restaurant became a new battleground. Mr. Bradford, as the building owner, suddenly had opinions on everything from the menu to the... He'd drop in unannounced, sitting at a prime table, observing Jack's every move with a critical eye. "Jack, my dear boy, I've noticed you ought to have been a touch dense lately. Perhaps a lighter hand with the egg whites, or perhaps a change in chef altogether," he'd suggest, his voice laced with thinly veiled threats. He'd question Jack's purchasing decisions, demand to see his books, and even tried to dictate the restaurant's operating hours. Jack, fiercely proud of his culinary skills and his business, chafed under the constant scrutiny. He felt like a child being supervised by an overbearing parent, his professional autonomy systematically eroded. Vicky, caught in the middle, felt the emotional toll most acutely. Her father's presence was a constant, suffocating reminder of her past, of the trauma that had made her wary of commitment. Every time he criticized Jack, or subtly undermined their relationship, it chipped away at her fragile sense of security. She saw his actions as a desperate attempt to drive a wedge between them, to prove that her choice to live with Jack was a mistake. One evening, after a particularly draining day of Mr. Bradford's meddling, Vicky broke down. "He's trying to break us, Jack," she sobbed into his shoulder. "He wants me to go back home, to be his perfect, compliant daughter. He'll never accept this." Jack held her tight, his own frustration boiling. "He's not going to win, Vicky, I promise you. We're in this together." He kissed the top of her head, wishing he could shield her from her father's venom. They tried to establish boundaries. They learned to ignore his notes, to offer polite but firm refusals to his suggestions. They made a pact. They wouldn't let him see them fight. They wouldn't let him divide them. Their love, they decided, would be their shield. But the constant pressure was exhausting. Their idyllic first few weeks of cohabitation were replaced by a weary vigilance. Even their intimate moments were tinged with a subtle anxiety, a fear that Mr. Bradford might somehow find a way to intrude. Jack's restaurant business, which had been steadily growing, began to suffer. Mr. Bradford's frequent, disruptive visits made customers uncomfortable. Some regulars, sensing the tension, started going elsewhere. Jack found himself working longer hours, trying to compensate for the lost revenue, the stress eating away at him. One afternoon, Janet and Philip stopped by, bringing a housewarming gift and a much-needed dose of normalcy. Janet, ever perceptive, immediately picked up on the strained atmosphere. "Everything all right here?" she asked, her eyes scanning the room, noticing the subtle changes in Vicky's demeanor, the lines of worry etched on Jack's face. Jack, usually quick with a joke, just sighed. "Mr. Bradford, our new landlord." Janet's eyes widened. "He actually bought the building. I thought he was just bluffing." Vicky managed a weak smile. "He never bluffs, Janet. Not when it comes to me." She explained the extent of his interference, the daily indignities, the constant pressure. Philip, usually reserved, frowned. "That's harassment, Jack. You can't let him get away with this." "What can I do, Phil? He owns the building. He's within his rights to inspect, to complain, to pretty much make our lives miserable." Jack threw his hands up in exasperation. "He's banking on you giving up," Janet observed. "He wants to prove that your unconventional relationship is unsustainable, that you're not strong enough to stand up to him." Vicky nodded, her eyes filled with a fresh determination. "She's right. We can't let him win. We just have to be stronger." Their friend's visit, though brief, reignited a spark of hope. They weren't alone in this fight. They had each other, and they had the unwavering support of their friends. But the path ahead was still fraught with challenges, and Mr. Bradford, their new landlord, was proving to be their most formidable obstacle yet. Chapter 7. The relentless pressure from Mr. Bradford began to take its toll. Jack, usually brimming with an almost boundless energy, found himself perpetually exhausted. He'd spend his days battling Mr. Bradford's petty demands in the restaurant, and his evenings trying to create a sanctuary of peace in their apartment, only for it to be shattered by another unexpected visit, or a passive-aggressive note slipped under the door. One particularly frustrating morning, Mr. Bradford decided to help in the kitchen. He donned a pristine white apron, startlingly out of place amidst the grease and steam, and began critiquing Jack's technique for flipping pancakes. "Jack, my dear boy, a true chef understands the delicate art of the wrist. It's not about brute force, it's about finesse. Like this." He demonstrated, sending a pancake flying across the kitchen and splattering against the wall. Jack bit back a furious retort, forcing a strained smile. "Thank you for the demonstration, Mr. Bradford. I'll keep that in mind." He knew arguing would only escalate the situation and give Mr. Bradford more ammunition. Meanwhile, Vicky, though deeply affected by her father's machinations, was also finding a quiet strength. The constant invalidation, the attempts to control her, ironically, pushed her further into independence. She realized that her father's actions weren't just about Jack, they were about her, about his desperate need to keep her under his thumb. She decided she needed a job, not just for financial independence, but for her own sense of self. She applied for a nursing position at a local clinic, a small, community-focused facility that served a diverse population. It was a stark contrast to the sterile, impersonal environment of the hospital she had left behind. "I got the job," Vicky announced one evening, bursting into the apartment, a rare, unadulterated smile on her face. Jack, who had been slumped on the sofa, nursing a cup of lukewarm coffee, sat bolt upright. "That's wonderful. Honey, congratulations." He pulled her into a hug, genuinely thrilled for her. "It's not a big hospital, but it feels right," she explained, her eyes shining. "I'll be working with people who genuinely need help, and it's a chance to build something for myself, away from everything." She didn't need to elaborate on everything. Her new job proved to be a lifeline. It gave her purpose, a sense of accomplishment, and a much-needed escape from the suffocating atmosphere of the apartment and the restaurant. She thrived in the clinic, her gentle demeanor and sharp mind making her a favorite among patients and colleagues. The challenges she faced there, though demanding, felt tangible and solvable, a refreshing change from the nebulous, emotional warfare with her father. Janet and Philip continued to be a source of unwavering support. They would often drop by, bringing homemade meals, offering a sympathetic ear, or simply providing a much-needed distraction. Janet, with her practical wisdom, would often give Vicky advice on dealing with her father. "He thrives on your reaction, Vicky. The less you give him, the less power he has." Philip, ever the calm, steady presence, would offer Jack advice on navigating the landlord-tenant dynamic. "Document everything, Jack. Every complaint, every inspection. If it comes down to it, you'll need proof." Larry, surprisingly, also became a source of unexpected comfort. Despite his initial dramatic farewell, he was a regular fixture at Jack's restaurant, often lingering after closing. He might not have offered profound advice, but his unwavering loyalty and his unique brand of goofy humor provided moments of much-needed levity. "Hey, buddy, I heard Mr. Bradford tried to make you serve liver and onions last week," Larry quipped one evening, leaning against the counter. "Good thing you stood your ground. Nobody wants liver and onions, especially not from a fancy French chef like you." Jack actually laughed, a genuine, unforced sound that had been rare lately. He said it was a classic American dish. I told him my restaurant serves cuisine nouvelle, not culinary nightmares. Vicky, overhearing, smiled. Larry's simple, unpretentious support, devoid of judgment or hidden agendas, was a welcome relief. He saw Jack for who he was, a talented chef and a good friend, and his loyalty never wavered. One afternoon, Jack found himself staring at the restaurant's ledger, the numbers stubbornly refusing to add up. Business was down, and the constant drain of Mr. Bradford's interference was making it impossible to focus on the creative aspects of his cooking. He felt trapped, his passion for cooking slowly being extinguished by the daily grind. Vicky, returning from work, found him hunched over the books, a look of despair on his face. "What's wrong, Jack?" he sighed, running a hand through his hair. "Business, Vicky. It's not good. He's driving customers away. I don't know how much longer I can keep this up." His voice was laced with a rare vulnerability. Vicky sat beside him, taking his hand. "We'll figure it out. We always do. Maybe we need to be more proactive. We can't just react to him. Jack, we need to find a way to take back control." Her words sparked a flicker of hope in Jack. Vicky was right. They couldn't let Mr. Bradford dictate their lives. They had to find a way to fight back, to reclaim their independence. both personally and professionally. It wouldn't be easy, but for the first time in weeks,